Welcome to the Real Mama Pod.
I'm your host, Devon.
And I'm your host, Kendra.
We are real moms.
Sharing real experiences. The things people don't tell you.
Hey, mama, hey.
Hey, Mama, hey.
How you doing, friend?
I'm cooling it. How are you?
I'm kicking it.
You cooling it or I'm cooling it, you kicking it.
Yes. If this is your first time listening, I'm your host, Devon.
And I'm your host, Kendra.
Welcome to the Real Mama Pod.
Welcome.
Yes. So
What's tea?
Listen, we still need your reviews. I know y'all haven't heard that in a while, but wherever you listen to your podcast, specifically Apple Podcasts, go ahead and drop us a review because I don't have one to read to you guys today. Not going to fuss too much because we have a lot to talk about with our beautiful guest, Samia. If this is your first time listening, Samia is...
She the homie.
She's the homie.
She family.
She's a reoccurring guest. At this point, she's a part of the Real Mama Pod.
I literally told
she's
Devon
not a guest.
She's not a guest. She's
We
like
don't
bringing the
count her as a
husbands back.
like,
You are not a guest.
but
Not
she
a guest.
has done so much for our podcast. She's the reason for the facelift, all the visuals, all of that. And she's also transitioning to van life.
Yes.
So, of course, we had to be the first to get the scoop on this van life. Okay. So that's why we're here to talk about this transition, having less, doing all the things, you know? So, because, you know, when somebody do something, be big, massive. I mean,
you gonna know about it.
Yeah. What's that song by the...
I don't
not
know
Young Money.
what you're
Damn,
aging
Cash
yourself.
Money. Cars real big.
Oh, she went far.
That song.
I know what you're
Okay,
talking
you
about,
know
friend.
what I'm talking about?
But the
That's
way you
Samia.
just tried to describe
I
it,
know.
you are definitely showing your age, and I need you to tighten
Y'all,
up.
I'm old. I'm okay.
You're not old.
Okay.
Don't put that on.
Okay. I'm in my rich auntie era.
Old is
Okay.
the goal.
Okay. There you go.
All right,
Oh,
rich
let's go.
auntie.
Rich auntie era. I'm a claim it, okay? Because I can't do what the young folks do. Anyway, but yeah, so this transition, for anybody who knows Samia, just knowing her personally, knowing her lifestyle, all of those things, like this transition, it's not different for us, but maybe
Right.
different for other people who may be new to your content, who may have just found out your van page or your van life. So they may not know the other parts of your life either. So we wanted to tap into that and, you
sure.
know, see how that's going, where it's headed, all the changes. So before we get into that, how are you doing?
Well, I'm glad to be back. I'm so proud of you guys. You guys have grown so much. It's been really a pleasure to just watch you guys do the things and just, you know, watch the visual match the content of the show. But yeah, so I've been into camping all my life.
Right.
And I always say, you know, I've mentioned this when I came on before, there are a lot of things that I hold near and dear to my heart from my parents and my upbringing, especially just like with it being as, I guess, what's they call it, tumultuous as it as it was. But I do believe in like holding on to the things that were good and pulling everything I can from those things. And, you know, I grew up in St. Louis and we grew up hunting, we grew up camping, we did all of that stuff. And I've always loved outside. And so when I always thought I would have an RV and travel around. But then, you know, the new age thing was getting a ProMaster, like type van and converting it, which I really love the idea of because I could barely drive as is. So it fits in a regular parking spot. And so when I was doing Sexual Essentials, I, you know, had, you know, made $1 million from that business. And I was like, you know, I'm going to go after my bucket list. And so a lot of that was travel. But the one thing on that list that like I still have today is I decided to get a van converted. And so ever since then, I've been dabbling in and out with what that looks like.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. And your van's name is?
It's Charlie.
So cute and fitting.
Charlie.
Charlie. Yes, Charlie. CHARLIE.
Okay.
Yes. I thought I would always have a daughter named Charlie, and I did not. And so that's my baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's your girl.
That's my girl.
That's your
my
girl.
girl.
Y'all
Y'all
be
love
rocking and rolling. Y'all be going places.
Right. Charlie been all over the United States. But so tell us like how you got into living this van Charlie life.
So the first time I did it, it was privilege. to just be honest.
Okay.
So I don't think that we could really talk about van life without bringing awareness to the fact that hippies and homelessness has always been a thing. And then, you know, it's been gentrified where it's like, oh, you add some like decor and a sink and, you know, all of those things. And then it's looked at differently. So let's start there. I started it first out of privilege. I wanted it to be, even the Instagram name. Like everybody's like, why did you name it the Charlie Van Cafe? It was supposed to be my workspace. It was supposed to be because I had the flexibility at that time with Sexual Essentials that I would work and then like just travel around in the off time and like write this book and, you know, very fairy tale. You know, I'm a person, I'm gonna make a personality for everything I like. And so it was very much so me. And so that was like the first part of it. But ironically, I didn't use it very much. Like I went on like a couple of large trips, but it sat, you know, for a while. And so then the second part of like me moving into van life was this, like the media group and the content house. It got to a point just trying to make it work that I could not afford my regular home anymore. And it was just like, I didn't have the resources to move the way I would want to move. And I'm very big on, if I don't want it, I'm not spending the money on it. I'm not signing a contract for anything that I'm not, like, I'd rather just figure it out. And so that meant that the only option I had just financially was that I had to move into the van full time. And so the first time was out of privilege. The second time was out of necessity. And so that was what, at the beginning of, that was July of 2023, where I had to move out of like, I guess my permanent home. And so I was just like, you know, I have too much. If I can not have that. And so like that was a little difficult, but you know, Trey was in school. I mean, still is in school. And so my time with Trey in Florida he became a van kid. And so I had to navigate what that looked like. And so 2023 was a school year. He had like 16 tardies. He was, you know, absent. And the absences were neither here nor there, but the tardies was a reflection of just me not having the routine down and things like that. And so the third phase of that is now that, you know, I've decided to sell the content house and pick up the pieces and figure out what my life is now. I'm still not ready, you know, to, I'm not ready to sign a 30-year contract mortgage or settle down in one city. And I have a lot of processing to do before I commit to anything else. But, you know, a lot of people will see the van and say, you know, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. Watch what you wish for. Because I was wishing that, especially when I had the freedom to do it, I let it sit. And then when an opportunity came up where I had no choice, I victimized myself and thought like, I'm homeless. Because it wasn't my choice. So that privilege of, I gotta have this, it's on my bucket list, moved to, now I'm homeless. And so, you know, and then now I'm in this third phase where it's like, well, what are you gonna do? I actually choose the van. Now that I have a choice, like I choose the van, you know? So that's been a process of navigating what it's been doing for me, you know, but it's doing something.
Yeah, it's doing a lot of things.
It is. I'm here for Charlie. Yes. How was Trey taking the van life as a kid?
Ooh, look. You could tell that sometimes he just does not have the patience for all the steps that it takes. And so, you know, actually I went through a recent lesson when it came to what I was willing to barter for. And so like one of the things in Florida is that, and everywhere, it's like illegal to like live in your car, right? In certain ways. And certain cities don't have a lot of camping options. And also like with schools and like regular camping, like sometimes the campsites are sold out, right? But also like people are like, oh, well, you save a lot of money. Well, if you go to a campsite every night, not necessarily, you know? And so last year it was very fun. And you know, I romanticize my life. So as long as I have a routine, I'm okay. But he was starting to get older this school year. And so it was more than our routines. It was his size. It was the cold, you know, things like that. Like we had to get an Airbnb a couple of times last year because even in Florida, it does freeze. And so, yes, I can turn the van on through the middle of the night and things like that, but it just was uncomfortable. And so I had to start making accommodations and plans for that. So like we rent a room inside of a space, like a room for the winter. And actually, I had decided to just keep it for an extended period, so that way he has a consistent nighttime routine.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we still cook on the van and do everything like homework and things like that on the van. But now we have a space for in the evenings after we're done with park and running around and things like that, that there's the consistent nighttime routine, which I saw was the most important for him.
Yeah.
And then also just being transparent with him, letting him know that, I want to, because when I told him I was selling a content house, he was like, then where are we going to live?
Right.
I said, Trey, how often do you even be at the content house? He was like, but still, where'd you even learn that?
Yeah.
But
these kids, man, they don't realize how good they got it.
so I think just, kids pick up on what stability is. So I know that it's about how I show up to him.
Yeah.
If I look worried, he gonna be worried.
Yeah.
So, but also teaching him that people live all different types of ways, and then showing him the stuff, and then finding out, like my friend Couture, our makeup artist, when he found out the kids have a bus, we're gonna get a bus, he's like, really? Like, can they do stuff with us? And, when he goes on campsites and there are other kids, like watching what happens. But, for me, a big part of that was when we went to parent teacher conferences last year, and they were like, what are you doing with him? Like, he's just, for a kid, and I know that all of them in attention and things, they're like, no, like, he's just doing really good. Like, just very different. He does have an iPad and things like that, but he's outside.
Yeah.
He good old dirt.
Yeah.
Good old dirt and
90s growing up.
And knee scabs, like, and so there's that. And so, it's just talking to him because of course he's still balancing two different households.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that he'll realize eventually my mama a hippie. Like, she'll go wherever her heart goes. So, it's a process.
So you talked about the winter months. What does the summer months look like for a van mom?
Oh man. So unfortunately, this past summer, I was not able to experience it the way I wanted to because I was knee deep in the content house. But this summer coming up, we do month to month over the summer. And so I get to have him for a month, and then I also don't have him for a month. And so I've been very excited. I got him this atlas, and so we're planning where we want to go in the summer.
They still make those?
Girl, yes.
Oh, I didn't
Like
know that.
The book, the big old one.
The big old
one.
The big old one.
Okay.
Yeah.
He really likes directions. Like, he actually remembers directions very well. Like, he'd be like, I was over here when da 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 da. Like very
maps
well.
into geography.
Maps very good.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, we can go. You have to watch it when you say anywhere because they be like, okay, well, I want to go to Africa.
Right.
Not in the van.
Right. That's not gonna happen.
He wants to go to New York so bad, but I really want to he wants the Home Alone New York experience.
Ooh, me too.
What did man tell you when you got to New York?
Get the fuck out the way.
But I want to fly him there and do the toy thing.
Yeah.
He, doesn't understand. So I'm trying not to deter him. Like, bitch, you said I could pick, and then I pick and you send me to Pothole City. So it's like, there's that. But he's interested in California right now, so I'm trying to roll with that.
Okay.
I'm trying to roll with
You
that.
can find
Joshua
some
Tree.
Yes. So I'm trying to roll with that. I took him to the Baby Grand Canyon, and so he's like, "There's a bigger one." I'm like, "There's a bigger one." So
Much
trying
bigger.
to see where that's going. And then like the other month that I don't have him, I haven't decided where I want to go. But Couture is my travel friend. Like, she like outside just as me. So we don't care if we sleep in a car. We don't care if we get a room. We just want to go. And so we're talking about like doing either a long distance train travel and just like sitting or, her and I can.
That's real grown woman.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
We could sit in silence. So like she does go on van trips with me. So like we're just trying to figure out, we coordinate our schedules with the kids so that way we have them at the same time and we don't. So honestly, we'll be in somebody's woods for sure.
I'm not here for that. So speaking of like Trey and how he's transitioning, what about Trey's dad? How has he responded to this change?
So he always has known who I
am. You've been you.
I have been me. So there's that.
Nothing's changing about that.
But also I think when he laid eyes on the van, it was also a little different. Like, and just like the way that we incorporate things. And like I said, when you panic, people panic.
Right.
But when I first got into the van, he was like, I don't know about this. And, unfortunately, when you don't agree, unless he wanted me to be honest, he was like, why don't you just go get a job? These things you're trying to do, they aren't, and I'm not that person.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not that person. I have to know that this is the thing, because what you want for me is not what I want for me. And that's one of the reasons that we're not together.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And if there is a problem within our child, then I will make an adjustment, which is a part of the reason that, you know, I decided to even pull away from the content house when I did, because it what affects my child, now you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yes, ultimately for me, but you don't have to tell me to look out for him. I'm going to naturally do that.
Right.
And so, you know, I had to tell him, you know, this is just something that we have to agree to disagree on. I said, now, if there's something that comes up or there's an issue, let's deal with that. But if anything, I need your support. I'm trying to figure this out. I'm not ready to give up on this thing. I haven't given it enough time to say that the content house doesn't work. And if this was yours, you wouldn't give up on it yet.
Right.
I said, I have not led him wrong. I said, you've seen what I've done. And so, you know, it's ironically, a few months ago, I called him and was like, I don't know if I could do this shit. Like,
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you can do it. You can, like, now it's like, you know, and not saying like we the best of friends or anything, but also, ain't nobody trying to necessarily do it. Like, you do your part and I do my part. You doing just fine. He's like, you know, you're doing better than I was doing at that age. In the midst of me figuring out what this fail and flail looks like.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, I've earned a certain level of confidence from him in that way.
Yeah.
But also, like, we're very black and white. If
Yeah.
you don't have control over it, we can't affect. Just like if he does something I don't want to do, I can't control what goes on in your household.
Right.
And you can't control what goes on in mine.
Yeah.
You know, so, but is the boy okay?
Yeah.
You know,
If he good,
if he
then we
good. So, you know, we talk about therapy and health things and stuff like that. And so, you know, it's a process. But I will say that he has been definitely patient, and just even some of the positions I've been in when it came to the content house, being supportive, like, hey, do you need something? Like, not necessarily from him, but from our joint account, you know, from our joint account, you need something from the, you know, but also the boundaries of, hey, I'm not comfortable with, like, if this is the threshold also as well. It's just communication. It's communication, but also he's now seen the work and seen what the content house can do. And so, you know,
he had to just sit at the table for a little bit.
It's a little bit of, but I'm very grateful for his stability in the way that he lives his life, to be honest, because if we were both like that, I couldn't imagine. So I am grateful that there's a certain foundation when it comes to certain things, but, you know,
the foundation looks different. It's
like,
like,
it looks different for everybody.
You have a foundation, your foundation looks different for Trey. Like, he's being exposed to a life that many kids in his classroom aren't. Like, he's getting...
And them little kids love that man. Like, Trey was, you could tell that he was very, like, this is different. Like, other kids don't, you know, whatever. And, you know, when we left the house, he had, like, the kid room, the Spider-Man room. Like, because also he has to part with things because we don't keep everything, you know? So that has been a process of, like, do we need that, Trey? Like, it's definitely been eye-opening and it's difficult to teach kids certain things without putting them through the struggle that we learned those things through. And so how do you teach gratitude without withholding, you know? And so different things like that. But when his friends saw you know, when we pull up now, they're like, there's Trey's mom, there's Ralph's mom. And he gets excited. He's like, can I invite, like, we invite friends over to the event. That's another thing though. Like, we do, like, hey, do you want to come over? And so we make dinner, we have seats, and he's allowed to have friends over and things like that. And then he's the cool kid, and then it's cool, you know? So, but...
But you're also teaching him skills that a lot of people in this younger generation don't have. So he is going to know how to, thankfully our kids know how to do this as well, because we go camping too, but knowing how to do basic things. So Jared always thinks the world's going to come to an end and zombies are going to come. And so there's always lessons, right? So you have to know how to build a fire. You have to know how to do certain things. And he will have those skills because I feel like some of those things are missed a lot of times because of technology and how fast the world is changing. A lot of times we depend on technology. And when technology is not there, we don't know what to do. So Trey, when he becomes a man, he is a little miniature man, but like when he's really a man, he's going to know how to do those things. And so that you can't put a price tag on.
Basic life skills.
Yeah, life skills, because that's something we're lacking as people.
It's so crazy because whenever the hurricanes and tornado seasons come, I think that has probably been the scariest part of van life because, you know, it sometimes comes out of nowhere, sometimes it shifts. And we were in the van during 3 tornadoes, you know, because sometimes they branch off and become tornadoes. 3 tornadoes, and we saw it. And I think that was the craziest time. But in the aftermath, he's like, why can't I go to school?
Yeah.
Because he didn't know anything different.
Right.
The way that we have electricity, plumbing, and water in the van was not affected. So we were doing the exact same. The whole city shut down. Like, they ain't got no lights. They ain't got no, he's like, we do have lights. And I'm like, the school don't have no lights. Like, he, you know.
It didn't make sense to him.
It didn't make sense to him. So, like, there are certain things that we don't feel when like natural disasters happen because we already live that way. And so, you know, just adjusting, getting him his own routine. So like he has to have chores and like things, you know what I'm saying? We still have to, they just look different. You know?
So you mentioned like the weather being somewhat of a challenge living a van life,
for sure.
But what are the things that you love, like pros about living a van life?
It really does match the vision of the person. And I'm very aware that my imagination really be going off. Yeah. Because it's like, there are some crazy parts. Like I've brought almost all their asses on the van with me and they like, bro, fuck you. I'm not coming back on here. Like I got to do what when I go to the bathroom? I got to do this, I got to do that. But I think it's beauty in seeing how I imagine it and watching it come to life. I think there's that. And I honestly, the minimalism of it, I'm learning a lot. Yeah. And that is a tough lesson to start. Yes. But when it gets into it, I have a very different relationship with gratitude and my faith because of the van. I also have a different level of patience internally with myself. And also I think it's small enough for me. As a giver, I don't have anything to give when I'm just in the van. You know what I mean? All I have to give is my heart. All I have to give is, you know, my purpose. And so it's just like, for me to want to do a career that's so large, it is very grounding to come back to something that's just mine. And just even how I was raised, like I don't have my childhood memories. My parents have them. And it's just a relationship that's severed. And so not having my memories is a thing for me. So I like having all of my stuff with me. I've always traveled with all of my stuff because when I leave one place, I don't have any roots anywhere. I've always felt more like a bohemian, you know, just kind of
free hippie,
like not on purpose. It's just how it is. And so I create roots wherever I go. So sometimes I need to be able to take my shit with me. I love taking my shit with me. I do. And you know, I love a little intellectual challenge. And so like minimalism and being outside is just, it's a mind fuck that keeps me intrigued, you know, and occupied. And it's more of me than I thought. And so I'm very open to, you know, where it takes me, but just being able to go anywhere. I'm very big on like creating a life that you don't need a vacation from. I'm very big on that. Like, because right now, a lot of people are like, you know, oh, you know, how is it going through the contest thing? Like, these have been some of the best years of my life. But these have been some of the most hardest times of my life. And the only reason I've been able to make it through is because the break is built in. The beauty is built in. I built it a certain way so that way if I can't do anything, I'm still okay. When COVID shut down, people were miserable because they had to live in these lives that they created. And so whenever my world shuts down, I live in the things that I have earned and worked for. You know what I'm saying? Like, I haven't shopped in a year. I haven't went out the country in a year. You know, like, that's not like me. But I can pull up to a park and open the back doors and I live this life that I don't need a vacation from.
I love that.
You know what I mean? And just, I am home. For me, this person that comes from a close-knit family and leaving those things, that I am home. It's wherever I go and it's whatever I touch. So I'm just very aware that, again, when you asking God for stuff, like, be mindful of what you're asking for because it might be packaged much smaller than what you think it is. And the content house is beautiful. Yes. But it's a lot. It is a lot. Yeah. And the van allows me to just show up and I'm always enough. I'm always enough. And with the van, my dream job can afford me. My dream lifestyle can afford me. And I will always go for the big things. I don't know if I doubt the content house would be the biggest thing that I do. I think it's the last biggest thing that I've done. Some things don't change.
Yeah.
But it does. The van gives me a way to transition when I need to start over in a way that's safe for me, so that way I can maintain my abundance.
Yes.
When I work in the content house, there are jobs that I would have loved, but I had to turn down because it doesn't support all of these things on my plate. But sometimes you need a job that doesn't require as much from you and maybe doesn't pay as much, but you can't even consider some of those jobs because of the things you have to maintain.
Right.
And so being able to have a home base, my own type of route to go back to, it just means that I can always regrow. And I don't always have to take 3 years to heal from something, that I can just go home, center myself and start again, versus, oh, I got to heal from these 3 years. And all that. People get tired of this shit. I need a life that has the love built in. And for me, it's there. And the boundaries are there. I can't invite too many people over.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The boundaries are built in for a person that has a heart like mine. And it also shows, like, I'm grateful. Yeah. I'm so great. Like, what I have is enough, and I understand how priceless that is, because there was a time where I didn't have certain things, and I had everything and I didn't even want to be here.
Yeah.
I had everything and still there was emptiness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just getting to a point where I'm just, because I have to work for certain things through my day, I be telling people I be hunting and gathering all fucking day. Okay? Like, fucking hunting and gathering. Like, we got to collect water. We have to, you know what I'm saying? Right. But doing some of those things, I realized them the things I have taken for granted.
Yeah.
You know, like, and you know they always teach you when you brush your teeth, turn it off, because there's other countries that ain't got no running water. No, dead ass.
Yeah.
Because I only got 18 gallons of water here. Turn that goddamn water off. Not because I can't get no more water, but I can only hold this much, you know. So it's a reparenting tool for myself. It's just, like I said, it's an intellectual mind fuck on what you really value. And it's not for everybody, you guys. Like, they're like, I am not
saying get your van.
Not. But it is an opportunity for us to live differently and afford a different level, because the van is luxury.
Right.
It's just tiny. You know, so
it's very luxurious.
It's
I've
nice.
been in it. I love it.
Charlie a bad bitch. You know?
So when you talk about downsizing, though, content house is a mansion. Okay? Literally. Like, by definition, when you look it up, it is a mansion.
Yeah.
Okay? And now you're talking about going into the van. How do you wrap your head around getting rid of all the things?
My stuff.
All your stuff.
I think that letting go of, I think this transition is harder because the only thing that I had to leave a lot when I had to let go of my home. I didn't have the money to pay for the proper movers to move my entire house. And I had already moved into the van for more than half the time. And so I had already made that separation with stuff. So I had kind of had that large, like, oh my God, right? But this one was different because the things that I have here was already what I had narrowed down and was like, okay, these are the things that's important to me that I'll keep. So now that we're talking about getting rid of things that are important to me, it's a little different. My baby's memories are outside and things like that. And, you know, I have a shed in the backyard that I had bought with the intention of converting it to a tiny home. And so, like, this is a thing, right? And so just not financially being in a space to transition that right now, I think the difficulty was having the opportunity to play victim and choosing not to. And, you know, Kendra and I had this conversation the other day, and I didn't have anywhere to put the shed. And I asked her, I said, you know, do you guys have the capacity? Do you have the capacity? Not will you? Do you have the capacity for me to put the shed in your backyard? And I told her, I need this much time. I need it to be free. I need, like, this what I need. And they weren't able to meet those things time-wise. And I immediately felt like her feel bad. And I had to let her know, like, no, this is what's supposed to be. You know, this is what's supposed to happen. And if it can't be you, then it's somewhere else. And I know that you're here for me. I know that you guys are here for me, but you guys can't solve my big girl problems. You know what I'm saying? And also, if it's a no, that's because it's supposed to push me into the right yes. Like, sometimes we say yes to things, trying to people please. And now I'm thinking that this is flow, not force, but it's not. It's going to end up being resentment, and I'm going to end up getting the force on the back end when I'm trying to take care of it now. you know? And so right after we had that conversation, thank God for like soul families and people that you keep running into. Allison, who's on one of my episodes, her and her husband are tiny home people.
Okay.
And they are living on some land. And she was like, bring it here. Like, you can put it here. Right, like 20 minutes after we had that conversation. 20 minutes. I told you that when in Sephora trying to fix my face, girl, breaking that. That's another one, which is how you do the face things. But went in there and talked to her, and it worked out. There were so certain things that I didn't want to give away that she needs right now. You know what I mean? So there's always space for God to show up.
Always.
There's always space. And so, you know, parting with things this time was also, how much are you going to bend over backwards to keep these things? Because you ask God for a whole bunch of shit. And these are the last things that need to fall off for you to really walk into a life that looks. Now, yes, it looks different. Yeah. Because I've been on here before and saying the same tune. But it is the same story that I'm trying to be molded into. How am I supposed to live this life, right? And I think this is a part of it. And I think the content house was a part of it too. I just think that I've gotten what I was supposed to get from it. The people that need to be filled have been filled. And it's time for things to change. And I think it's just necessary. There are some sets in here that I want to keep a piece of. But even just me as a tiny home person, when I construct the other one, I know for a fact I would never pick any of this furniture because people are like, how do you make space? Oh, well, actually this bed is a table. This is a this. And they're like, oh, that's how you fit. So I would never put these things in here. So why do you want to keep it? Why are you rooted to this stuff? And that's the thing. Stuff changes all the time. And if I'm rooted to the stuff, when the stuff changes, then I'll feel like I got to change.
Yeah.
And so just, again, the intellectual grounding, you know, that it takes to just have faith in the situation. It's just beautiful. Yeah. You know?
And it's a beautiful journey, and you can always pivot. I love the way you are a pivot queen, okay? And you do it with so much grace. You give grace to yourself. And I really think you are such a giver. And I tell you this all the time. You give. And I think this is your opportunity to give to yourself because you deserve that. You give so much to people, like even strangers. I'd be like, why are you giving them all that? And I'm a giver. And this is your time to give to you and really fill your cup. It's very bittersweet to see the content. It's so many memories. We've grown so much, so many laughs, so many tears, so many everything. But it's just like, we're still leaving on a good note. Like, this is not like goodbye. Like, we stuck for life. Like I told Brandon earlier, I'm like, we stuck. Like, it's just gonna look different.
Just making room for new memories and blessings.
New memories, new everything. And it's okay to start over. It's okay to pivot. And if I don't know anybody in this world who could pivot like you, like I can't name another person. You know, and you. Even in your like uncertainty, you still make it look so beautiful. The words are like poetry. It's like, oh my gosh, I think I could do that too. Like, let me see if I can get me a van.
You know,
Devon, you are not.
No, I wouldn't last 2 days. Now, Jared will be out there with you.
Oh my goodness! I can't wait for all of us to go camping.
Yeah,
I cannot wait.
Our camping trip. It's happening in 2025.
Absolutely, I cannot wait for us to go camping because I will say that, like, you know, Couture is an old school camper. Like, she has no problem, baby. She would whip out that tent in a motherfucking millisecond, and put it together and be like, where are we hiking to?
We are tent campers.
I've done my time. I'm a glamper. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If my van can't roll up, then you won't see me there. But I cannot wait till we do that. Because
not a glamper.
How we eat and, you know, things like that. But I have learned that I do romanticize my life in a way that it does come off like, oh, I should do it too. But this is just the beauty from my eyes. This is, everything is better than where I've came from. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's hard to compare your life or things to other people. And that's the thing. A lot of people are looking to do the things that other people do to get the happiness. And the thing is, that's not what I want you to do. I want me doing what the fuck I'm doing to give you permission to try the shit that you want to try. Because doing it my way is not going to work.
That's right.
Doing it my way is not going to work. But I think it's important to have the conversation so that way where it resonates, you can apply it to where it needs to be. But this is to give you permission to say that you can decide to sell it all. You can decide and it still be hard. You can choose yourself and it still won't be easy. Yeah. And we judge our parents. We judge and see, this is why I do pay homage to how I started, regardless of the boundaries I've had to stand on, because you can't judge them if you can't do it. I believe that my mother should have did this. I believe my dad should have did that. But through all their drunken, crazy ways, my daddy was still trying to build this business, this catering company, this restaurant. And regardless of the foundation it was built on, he still did it. You know what I'm saying? And I saw them trying to find a way to be happy. And I have the privilege of choosing that. And I have to stop giving away my autonomy and my freedom. The thing is that we choose that I gotta have this and I gotta have that. I actually choose to not have certain things so I can have something else. Like, I would rather go without my nails right now so I can go to Jeju. Call it priorities, but it's the energy that I need to, I do have enough. It's just how are you allocating your resources? So when you be like, I don't got enough, I don't know how I'm gonna get it through. What if I said you have enough? You have to restructure it. You have to
work with
different.
What you got.
It's not everybody's picture. Everybody not a big house, 2-car person. Like right now, I have a home. I have a room inside of a townhouse, right, with some people I don't know. But we're able to, out of what I actually need, I need that room because now we have a bathroom and a room. You know, add my little sprinkle of Samia on it, right? And we have the van, so we have a kitchen. You know what I mean? But when I had the content house, I had a van, and I had a permanent home. How much of that did I actually use? How much of that did I actually use? So we say all these things we want when you're not using what you actually already have. So how much of your freedom and autonomy have you given away to these things?
Yes.
How much of what you need to show up for on your plate is actually yours? And I saw that I needed to make a certain amount of income because I was doing a lot for stuff that wasn't even like necessarily for me. So it was just like, damn, what did I learn?
You had to do some reflection.
I had to do some reflection. So it was like, okay, I learned I want to do production and I learned I want to work with people, but do I need to pay for it? Do I need to fund it? Does it need to? No, because I'm giving away shit anyway. So I might as well get paid to do it, right? Like let somebody else fund it. Or I'm very unattached to the idea if it's not mine. Like, let me sell my ideas. Let me, you know, how do I use this? Like, but the point is that if I'm still living, then I'm not done. And so it's just, I'm not done. Like, and I don't give a fuck what people think.
No.
So
never that. Not anymore. Not anymore.
So really what is holding you up from doing the thing that you're scared to do is you, what you think of you.
Yeah, what you
it's what I thought. At homecoming, I had such a battle. Especially even when Devon called me, she said, "Oh, I see you. I'm parking in a parking lot right now." It didn't feel like anything for me to be excited about. But the constant check of privilege, you were excited the other day. Why are you excited? Because someone saw you. You know what I mean? In a moment where maybe you weren't ready. So maybe it's that your different lifestyle doesn't work. Maybe you judge you for that. And it's okay because we're unlearning and we're trying to, and there are traditions that we like. We're making our own way. You know, we put a pumpkin on the van. That's Halloween decoration. I'm looking for a little felt tree to put on the chalkboard. Like, you got to make your own traditions. And I realized that Trey, like, it's more so doing the things, not where he do them. So he like, do I get a tree? Right. That's all he want to know. Do Santa Claus come through vans? That's what he want to know. Like, he, you know, that's all that matters. And so
I saw something, not to cut you off.
Oh no, please do. You know I go and go and go.
Where, and it was a celebrity, I think I shared it with you and Brie actually, when she was like, it's not about the things, it's about the experience. Putting up the tree, putting up the stocking, putting up whatever. That's all they care about. And so creating those experiences,
it was like a quote or something.
But that put things in realization for me because my kids have a lot of stuff. Like, it's too much, right? And every year we give away around Christmas just so they could get more, but they're not getting more than 3 gifts this year. And I'm keeping that up every single year because you don't need all of this. Because out of all the things, you play with one thing. You know? So it's about the experience. And they're still going to be happy. They're still going to have joy. They're still going to do the things because they're experiencing that, or Trey is experiencing that with you. And so that's all that matters, however you make it special for him. And I find when it's not like with the traditional status quo, like they actually like it better. They're like, oh, this is different. This is, so I say that to say, just put up that felt tree, girl.
Yeah. It's also a lot of, now this is where the rebel part of me shows up. There's also a lot of control that we've relinquished as people and Black people and women that I've been relearning when it comes to the van and realizing that I am home. And so being upset with healthcare and things like that, I'm actually in better health standing than I've been in a while because I move all day. I have to move all day because otherwise I'm sitting in a van all day. You know what I'm saying? So being on my physical therapy without being injured, you know, is something that's showing up now. And so it's like, also, I don't have a lot of space for food in the van. So I don't have time for the food like products. I need the actual food. You know what I'm saying? So
fresh.
You even start going in the aisles and you're like, damn, all the snacks you normally buy takes up all the food space. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I have a cooler and a fridge and things like that. But Trey, and this was something that had been bothering me. He has 2 cavities because I just feel like that's crazy. And, you know, some damn fruit snacks. But now he's getting off of the fruit snacks, so I'm not buying them as much because I'm like, oh, well, we don't have no space for our apples. Like, so, you know, of course it came with some resistance, but even just what you keep, because it's just like, well, what food we go? So he's like, oh, we got to put this back. Ain't no space. So it naturally, it's changing some of the ways that we have been overly reliant on the convenience of life. And that doesn't mean it doesn't have to be nice. Like y'all seen it, man. It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
But it does require some work. And so when things don't have a little work in them, we end up taking them for granted. You know, so even just the water, where I get my water, I'm paying attention to it now because it's like, oh, wait, this is actually isn't, like there are more things I'm aware of that I have given my autonomy away, not just in my personal life, but also when it comes to culturally and like the small businesses that I'm running into and just the convenience of Amazon. Like some of those things is just like, there's a lot more going on here. And also just even understanding the way that America hates broke people.
Oh, yeah.
This was my first time really seeing like being the confusion, like, because now I fall in a certain category where it's like, you can't be here or da 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 da. So, you know, even just the looks and the views where it's like, oh, do you rent this van? Do you rent yours? Like, so the you know, the in these spaces and, you know, just safety. It's, my eyes are very open
as they should be. So, you know, I like adventure.
Come on, hit me with
and all the things. Where is Charlie's next adventure? Where are we going?
Okay, so I am doing a New Year's trip with, I don't know when y'all gonna hear this, but doing a New Year's trip with my good sis Katura, and we are taking a mom roadcation. It's our first long trip together. When I first got the van, I had went on a road trip to like Sedona and like, you know, US 66, like, you know, those things, Utah and stuff. Yes. And so there are some places that we're going to redo. So we're going to, I believe here's our lineup. We're leaving from Atlanta. We're going to hit New Orleans, Houston, New Mexico. For White Sands National Park. We're going to the Grand Canyon and Sedona. That's spiritually, we are in some different places, and I want her to experience Sedona. So Sedona's
beautiful.
I want her to see those vortexes and feel the energy. And so we're going to do that, and then you know, have lunch off the side of a cliff and
That's what I'm talking about.
And then go to the Grand Canyon, because I don't care what nobody say. That Grand Canyon is not overhyped. That shit
is not at all.
I've never been to the Grand Canyon.
It's not overhyped at all.
I've been to Sedona, but I have not been to the Grand Canyon.
It's not overhyped at all. It is so beautiful, and it's so much of it. You know, so
I bet.
And you just feel a sense of healing when you're out there. It's just like
that whole area out there got something good going on. So we are. That is what we are doing. So we're doing that for New Year's, and then like just as I transition. Like normally I would do 2 weeks at the content house and then 2 weeks with my son, but I'm doing 2 weeks with my son and then 2 weeks of me on an adventure. So now I'm, you know, because I want to add more to, you know, just I've been a content creator, but like really showing up. So I've been, you know, doing those things.
I love that for you.
What can people expect next from Samia? Should they expect
I could tell you what's going on.
They just vibe.
Yeah.
There's the way to stay in touch with me. Let's say that.
Okay.
I'm sharing my van life adventures, of course, on the YouTube. It's still SE Media Group, so there are multiple playlists. You all's playlist is there, so y'all get a little bit of everything. But my van vlog is there. It's called I Am Home, and so that is like just seeing the beautifulness where I put stuff together, like of our days and things, and then also just like the vlogging part of it. The Instagram page, there's that. And then also the Bankrupt Millionaire, where I'm sharing my stories and my assessments of how the same way that I made $1 million is the same way that I went bankrupt. And so ultimately it means that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so if you guys didn't know, I did, stop Not Just Another Sex Podcast. It did come out with its final episode, but it was a completion. It was at completion. And so this new journey is just less pressure. I shoot the show right from the van, and it's the Bankrupt Millionaire. It's just like, if you're bankrupt in one area of your life, odds are you're bankrupt in another. And that's what I found out. And so in the process of handling the financial bankruptcy of, myself, I've learned that there were other areas that I was bankrupt in, and it's just like I actually did all these things the same. And so it's it's definitely reflective, vulnerable, accountable, but also telling you guys the things that did work for me, or things like it's tell all. And so that's a solo show that I've been working on, just making sure that my voice still has that's my purpose, my voice. And so being on set is just my voice playing dress up, but I don't, I've let go of all things that are keeping me from being me, even my hair. I've let go of anything holding me back from just doing the thing. And if I have to, say, oh, I need my makeup to do the show, or, oh, I got to fix my hair so it's not the time. Every time God gives me a message to share, or the universe gives me this message to share, I'm not sharing them because I need all these things. And so I'm just grateful to be in this space, because I've learned that if you want to be somewhere else, that's when you start having those mental issues. And so where I am is always where I want to be.
There we go.
And it's a mental discipline, and actually it's not even discipline anymore. It's devotion at this point. So I'm dedicated to this girl. I just keep surprising, myself, and just really proud of the grace that I've accepted these transitions with. And I think it's just proving more and more that, I'm meant for something extraordinary, for sure.
Yes, you are.
You are extraordinary.
I like how you put a bow on that.
Wrapped it right
I'm meant for something extraordinary.
Yes.
So
I'm here
speaking of
for it.
extraordinary, what we got?
Oh, I see you. So, y'all know my girl. She don't like liquor in her drink. So we having a mocktail. I support it though.
Yes.
So if you ever come to the Content House, let me give y'all some context. Mama Juice is my favorite segment of the show. I love cocktails, so cocktails had to be a part of the show. But we got a mock today because, again, Samia does not drink, which is fine. Yeah. We always make adjustments, and the drink will still be good. But
I drank mine.
It's okay.
Oh, you are about done. Yeah, both. I saw you sipping. So if you're ever hanging out at the Content House,
if you ever hung out,
or if you've ever, if you've ever hung out at the Content House, Samia loves the "I'm Living My Best Life" by Chance the rapper and Cardi B. She loves every time we have come to this house, she has played this song. Yes. I about know the song word from word. And I only listen to it here. I respect and I love Chance and Cardi, but I only listen to that song in this house. So that is the name of this drink, because she is living her best life. She's talked about the transitions that she's made, the things that she's accepted about where and how she wants to live her life to its fullest extent. She said, not taking a vacation from the life. You have to rephrase that. That might be the title of this episode. You don't need a vacation. There we go.
That is a title.
Living her best life, right? And we support that, and we see you doing that, and we're gonna cheers to that with our Mama Juice. So we're drinking orange juice with a little razzle dazzle, a little cranberry, a little fresh orange, and a little rosemary. And then we've topped it with some ginger beer.
You know I love a good
That's
ginger
her
beer.
I know you do.
You know I love a good ginger
I know.
beer.
That's why it's in here. But if you want to add alcohol to your drink, you can. This is giving me like a holiday feel. So you can add a spiced rum. I think a spiced rum would be good with this drink, with the orange and all the
From
cranberries.
what I remember, I think it would be well.
Or whiskey. You know, you can do what your heart desires, whatever your spirit is leading you to.
Yes.
So yes, cheers to our mama who is living her best
Cheers.
life.
More change.
Change is good.
We accept that
is
change.
good. Yes, we accept it.
We do.
So if this is your first time listening, Mama's Corner is my favorite segment, and this is our opportunity to connect with our guests further. Either you guys can write a question, and we'll try to answer it to the best of our ability. If you want to email us, you can email us at mama@therealmamapod.com. But I thought it would be great to connect with Samia further and to talk about her new look. I know you touched on it. And you didn't think I was going to go there, but I am.
She said I got all the things.
Listen, this hair is beautiful.
It really is.
I'm obsessed.
you.
I even told
Love
Kendra, I was
it.
like, I think I want to cut my hair like Samia. She's
I
like,
love
you should
it.
do it.
Love it. I think you should.
Yeah, my hair has grown out too much to cut it again. Like,
I don't
know. We'll see.
What are you saying?
We'll see. If it was still short, then maybe. But I
You know
don't know.
them
We'll
Leos
see.
in their hair though. It's a very
Well, this Leo, she care about her hair, but she don't.
I feel I was the same way.
She care how she look, but
The hair is just hard to
She
deal
don't-
with. Okay, the hair and makeup, I just struggle. Okay, but your hair. First of all, you have beautiful locks. But this haircut, this blonde, this part on the side,
Yeah.
honey, it's just giving all the things. But I know someone who may not be familiar with you may want to know more. Like, what prompted that? Like, your locks were beautiful. You had the colors, you had all the things going on with that. And I feel
That was
like
a time.
that brought out some a different Samia, and now we have this haircut that brought out a different Samia. Like, tell us about it, please.
For sure. So I'm glad you asked this because I did want to touch on it. Like you said, give the full exclusive. So I have had my locks since like 2011. I had my locks since like 2011. And I've always wanted locks. They are just, it's a thing for sure. And so, you know, once you get your locks, you can't wait for them to be butt length long, right? And so I went through, when I cut them, they were at my butt, right? But what I found was that when they were not done, I was looking crazy. And I was looking crazy because my hair, I was trying to maintain this hair that when I was going through the process of creating these locks, I didn't have the boundaries that I have now. And my hair was a reflection of that. You could see the inconsistencies of my hair to the point that it was hard to deal with. Like, even going to my, like, at first I started with like comb twists, and then it was interlocking, and then it was crocheting. And so doing all of that to one strand of hair ends up making it look crazy. And a large part of me starting to look for other solutions was because I was getting alopecia around my, like, the edges. And it wasn't just because of postpartum. It was because I was going to someone and I was telling her, I think this is too tight. And honestly, I should have left her way sooner. But, you know, when you're comfortable somewhere, especially with your hair, and just, you know, sometimes how we grew up, it's like, that ain't hurt. Like, one of the biggest gaslighting as a little girl was getting your hair done, you know?
please don't
And
take
so-
me down that memory
You know,
lane.
like, you're fine, you know, and this was a grown woman, right? And the last time that I saw her, it was because I was just very adamant about, I can't be late, it's my son's birthday party. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. But ultimately, I should have had those boundaries, right? And then when I did end up leaving, I took on caring for my hair myself and bouncing around, and like Couture was showing up for me fully, trying to help me maintain this hair. And then once I started changing spiritually, and like I was getting these downloads that I realized I needed to record or talk about and things like that, I kept delaying it, and I kept not recording those things and doing those things because I was self-conscious. And to be fair, I was looking crazy. Like, I would, you know, my mental health has been a thing. I was pulling my hair on the on the sides. Like, there were times where I couldn't figure it out with the content house, and I was breaking my hair when no one was here. And I just remember purging because I just didn't understand why I couldn't get the content house to work, and why I kept over giving to the point that I was putting myself in a position to be taken advantage of. And I hated my hair because it was a reflection of all the times that I did not have good boundaries because the hair wasn't healthy. But because it was to my butt, and because it was an image that I had created for myself, blonde and red and just that girl. But that hair was such a blanket for me to feel confident until I was really there. And I sat in that van one night and I said, boy, I start cutting the fuck out of that shit. I was just tired. I was tired of my own shit because you putting all these boundaries down with everybody else. And you say that you're ready to move on and you want what's next, but you are holding on to things and people are only doing what you're doing, you know? And so it was just like, if God ain't taught you nothing else, have you not learned that if I don't want you to have it, you're not going to have it? That you have everything that you need, and maybe there's some things you need to let go of. Like, what is with your attachment to these things? Even something that's yours. It's you. It's in you. You can be bald-headed. You could be, you know, patchy. You could be, you're that girl. Like, so what the fuck? I was looking like Buck. We did a motherfucking that van. Trey woke up and said, I think it looks better with the hat on. Honey. And so I took my ass to that barbershop and she said, I thought you had a lock appointment today. I came in with my bag. I said, we got to switch it up. She said, what we need to do? And it was a process. At first, I tried to combine my locks. And I'm so grateful that God gives me the grace to figure it out. Because I spent money that, first of all, to combine your locks is a couple $1,000s. I found somebody that did it for me for like $500. And every time I've needed something, God has brought somebody that had a little side hustle that could do it for me every time to help me figure out, so that way I could consent to my life. I love that. I love that God gives me in the universe. And I know that people different, but I'm really a universe girl. But just to make sure y'all still with me, that you know, that he gives me the opportunity to learn on my own. And so I did try to save it. And then I shaved the edges. I shaved the sides and then I combined it. And that was so fire. I've always wanted to be a thick lock girly. But then it had all these little legs of locks that wouldn't combine because they were unlockable because of how I was getting them done before. And so I was bending over backwards to save this dead hair. And so I cut it. And I've been short before, but I had never been wave capped short. And I just was like, bitch, we about to see what that face card talking about. And when I cut my hair,
I slid in your DMs.
I cut my hair, I said, oh, it's up. And honestly, I started dropping shit left and right after that. I cut my hair and I was like, it gave me permission to say I don't want this anymore. That I don't want anything that holds me back from me. I think I'm a gorgeous girl. Like, and it took a long time to get there. And the fact that I have this hair that I've wanted all my life, and I feel awkward when it's not done, like it actually has to be together. I've never been that person. Y'all see me as I come, like for sure. And so you can't hold people to a boundary that you don't hold yourself to. Yeah. And it's just, I'm just here for the things, you know, so.
We loving it.
Shit had to go.
We love it. Like, when I saw, I said, oh my gosh, I love it.
It's just
with
so
the writing in the DMs.
I you right away.
Girl, the faces, the screenshots. I wish I had got Trey's face. And some of the best memories, I hope I have these, but when I dropped him off to school, I was looking like a little bit like, you know,
like you need that hat on.
For sure. It was definitely giving holiday heart, for sure. So, for sure. And then I went and I knew how to, I knew what things I was going to do. Like, give me the look. And Trey is very serious about his lines when he gets his haircut.
We know that about
very serious about his lines. And they called him to come out and he was walking and he looked and he said, Like, it was his face back, because he had looked and he saw me and he said, but he didn't look back at me. He was walking and the teacher saw it too. And she was like, oh my gosh, has he seen you like this? I said, no, I dropped him off looking mad crazy today. He came out, he's like, I like your haircut. I like your lines. I was like, I said, you okay with this? And he was like, yeah, I'm okay with this, because baby, try to tell you.
Yeah.
You need to do
Kids are very honest.
And he do
That baby honest,
so.
like his mama. He get it honest. You can't,
That's fair.
you can't even say that's trade. That is you coming out.
It might be just be a little bit. So it was just nice to also just see something different from me. I didn't think I could surprise myself with my hair. And it's so crazy because, Couture really held me down. Like, just trying to find a personality and make me fall in love with it again. Like, she was committed. And she did bring a love that I had back to it. Like, I'm so grateful that I have documentation of all the styles and like B getting all those pictures for me of like what it was. But also, this feels like I've always looked like this. And it just goes to show that when it's time to let something go, we don't have to hold on like that. That when it's time to let it go, it's because it's going to feel right. It's going to feel like taking a shit. It's going to feel good. It's going to feel good.
Leave it up to Samia.
Come on, it is gonna feel.
But you're right.
It's gonna feel fine.
You feel lighter.
Like, you're gonna feel lighter. It's a little embarrassing. It be, but when you do,
A little messy.
it's better than when you didn't. So
Why you
she said, "Messy. Wait, what's
little
going on?"
I mean, she's talking about taking it
But so I'm just grateful that things are happening when they're supposed to, and that I'm feeling the feelings I'm supposed to feel when I'm supposed to, and everything deep with me, so it did the things.
Yes.
But that hair was one that I was
Listen.
Yeah, I was really trying to hang on to it.
Yeah. And look at it now.
Gone.
Thriving.
Gone with the wind, fabulous.
Yeah.
That's the message. Sometimes you gotta let go of things to thrive.
Yeah. There you go.
So,
well, on that note,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you so much,
This was
Samia.
wonderful. It's always
We
wonderful.
love you.
Yes, we love you.
I
Girl,
love
we
you
were out
guys.
until the wheels fall off. So
We here.
We gonna ride till the wheels fall off. We gonna ride till the
Okay.
wheels fall off. Y'all remember that song? No. Well, on that note,
until
till next time. Bye.